And welcome back to Beyond Oasis. We are now going to make our way back to the castle so that we can figure out from the king where we need to go next. And along the way, I'm going to go ahead and stop at this hut again. This guy is going to give me the same text as he did before, even though we've already gone to the castle. And he's going to refill my health, and I can get another block of cheese. This continuously respawns, so you can just go in and out of the house and pick up cheese over and over. Although it only heals you for 1/4 of your health, so probably best not to load up your inventory with that. Now what I'm going to do is go under the bridge, and there's a fire here. I'm going to use my gauntlet on the water to get out Ditto, use the bubble on the fire, and that'll bring up a chest which has this gem in it. This is specifically a Ditto Gem. There are gems assigned for all 4 of the spirits that you'll find, and each gem will increase your spirit points by 5, effectively allowing you to keep the spirit out longer, and also make that individual spirit stronger. So like, for Ditto, she'll be able to heal me for a little more, and she'll be able to do more damage with the tornado, etc, etc. And as we head toward the king now, we're going to find out that there is another shrine very close by that we have to visit. But the king sent out some soldiers to do a little scouting about who those people were that jumped me in the village. Now he says go to the waterfall before the soldiers come back, but you can take as long as you want. There's not like a timer or anything, and by the way, if you're curious, you can't call Ditto with this water. So, now we are going to head to the East Waterfall, which is actually the North Waterfall. Although technically we do have to go east a little bit to be able to get there, but whatever, semantics. Now from here we're going to make a straight shot north, bypassing all these things. And by the way, those rodents can come up from the ground and, like right here, get directly in front of you. Now we're just going to go ahead and jump into the water. And here is the waterfall. Now we're going to go ahead and call up Ditto. And if you don't know what to do, you can just walk toward the waterfall and she'll tell you, basically, use a bubble here. And we have exhausted our use of Ditto for now, so I'm going to show you something that's quite useful in the field, which is, if you're low on health items and there are fish nearby, do what you can to get them on land. Then whittle down their health a little bit, because their health will slowly go down just from being out of the water, and when they die, they'll become an item you can pick up, and fish heal half of your health, so this can be pretty useful. Now that won't work if you stab them or hit them or otherwise get their HP to 0 by any means other than just letting them die on their own. So be sure that you don't accidentally hit them too much. Now we have the key, but I'm going to go ahead and go down here, weaving my way around these snakes, get these couple of treasure chests, because this one has another Ditto Gem in it. And this is useful in its own right. The apples replenish half of your spirit points. In places like dungeons, where your spirit points won't be able to regenerate automatically, it's incredibly useful to have at least a few spirit point items on hand. Case in point, here's another apple. Now there is a little bit of a secret. Again, this dungeon isn't too long, however, and I have no idea how I didn't get hit by the fire when I slid into it. Ah, here's something I should explain. Hearts don't appear very often, and what they do is they increase your hit points, they increase your attack strength, but they also increase your rank. Rank is something that comes into play near the end of the game to determine your title. And meanwhile, in this hidden area, we find a bow which has 100 uses, so I'm going to go ahead and hit start to drop this other bow that only has 5. It can't hurt to do inventory management early on, especially when you only have 8 weapon slots. But getting back to what I was saying earlier about rank, you can continue picking up hearts as they occur, although they tend to show up more when you're lower on health. And you can get your rank up to 200 before it'll just stop and you won't receive any sort of statistical bonuses from it. And there's one guy on GameFAQs who did a ton of research on this. I think it was Vortex Spin. But he and a bunch of other guys got together and determined like all the different like titles or class names that you can earn from getting different ranks. Like there's Fighter, Warrior, Swordmaster, Hero, Samurai, Champion. Then there are a bunch of other ranks that take into account other things like how many times you died, how many jewels you got, how many kills you have, how much time you completed the game in. And the absolute highest rank, at least from what I can tell, is Superhero. But meanwhile, getting back to this game, this is another area where you can lure the fish onto land and then turn them into health items, although I accidentally killed that one myself. And get used to seeing this fire, by the way. It's going to come into play later in a more significant capacity, but right now I'm actually going to head down here. We're going to find another treasure chest, and this is our 3rd Ditto Gem. And this is actually going to lead us directly into the boss fight. So I'm going to go ahead and pull up Ditto, because the strategy for this boss is going to be do as much damage as you can, as fast as you can. So I'm going to go ahead and pull out my sword. The sword does a little more damage than dagger swings would, and you can use it much faster than a dagger swing. But the basic strategy here is once the head pops up, you use Ditto's bubble to freeze it in place, so that you can hit it with the sword. Hitting it with the sword will knock it out of its frozen state, but it's handy nonetheless, especially if you get knocked down and you need time to get back up and reposition yourself. Now you don't want that thing shooting a bunch of fire at you, because once it gets 3 fireballs going in the room, the head will cease to resurface, and you have to destroy one of the fireballs before it'll come back. And that can be extremely annoying to do, especially when you're trying to just knock them down with a dagger. And that fight went surprisingly well. I usually struggle with this one, but that's because I tend to be really stubborn and keep saying, I'm saving the weapons for later, I'm saving the weapons for later. And then I get a full inventory full of weapons and I still don't use them. Anyway though, we now have Ifrit, the fire spirit. Ifrit is useful for a lot of things, beyond what the instructions are going to tell us. Just like all the other spirits in the game, it has 3 attacks. One where it just breathes fire out of its mouth at a short range. It has a dash attack where, if you've ever played as Cinder in Killer Instinct, and just spammed his fireball attack where he... yeah, it kind of looks like that. And then the one where he just nukes the entire room. But the thing that this doesn't tell you is that he also punches things just when he's out and around, like this ice for instance, which will yield us an Ifrit gem. He will do that to pretty much any enemy that he comes across out in the field. But for now, I am going to go ahead and save, and next time on Beyond Oasis, we will head back to the castle again and see if those soldiers have returned with any news about the people who jumped us.